Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Foundation for Free Enterprise Education Speaker Series. My name is Scott Lee, and today I'm pleased to have with us Randy McCarty, Executive Director of the Clark Associates Charitable Foundation. Today we're going to be talking about careers in a growing field, the nonprofit sector, and how to determine if you're a good fit for a particular organization. Randy graduated from Elizabethtown College with a degree in elementary education, and he holds a master's in education from Millersville University. He also completed his certification requirements for education administration at the University of Delaware. He has taught in the elementary level for 10 years and then worked as an elementary school principal for 25 years, retiring in 2015 from the Conestoga Valley School District in Lancaster County. He started with Clark Associates as the executive director of the company's charitable foundation in 2015. He is also responsible for employee recruiting, the company's new employee orientation program, and he manages the company's high school mentor program. He's quite a busy man, and we're grateful for his time today. Randy, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
Great. So let's talk about, a little bit about Clark Associates. What do they do? How did you get involved?
Clark Associates is a company that actually distributes, for the most part, distributes food service equipment and supplies. And they do that through several means. They actually have 12 different divisions within the company right now, the largest of which is a huge website called restaurantstore.com, where it's kind of like the Amazon of the food service industry. They have now 11 cash and carry stores called the Restaurant Store, which would be like a Home Depot, except they sell restaurant equipment and supplies. Basically in the central Pennsylvania area right now, those stores are kind of distributed all around central Pennsylvania, but it does extend into Delaware and Maryland at this point. Their distribution centers, because of the size now of that website, actually span 9 different states. And so we have actual facilities from Tampa, Florida, all the way out to Nevada. Our newest distribution center is up in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania right now. So we're a food service support company, basically. And the other major division, the third major division, is a design and build team that actually can design and build commercial food service facilities. Anything from a school kitchen to a hospital's dining services. They do work all over the country.
Wow, that is great. So you are the executive director of the Clark Associates Charitable Foundation. Tell our viewers what a charitable foundation is, what it does, and why foundations are important in our communities.
Yeah, I can speak to ours. I know some of the foundations, particularly here in central Pennsylvania, work a little bit differently than we do. Being a private company, as we still are, our foundation establishes its own mission and its own way of doing work. But it was founded by the leadership of the company in order to give back to the community that is supporting the company. So this company actually started in 1971 as an electrical contracting company, and now we're not an electrical contracting company anymore. But the Clark family that started this business was of the mindset that if the community is supporting the company, giving them business, and they are doing well, then they owe it to the community to give back. So the foundation was formed officially in 2001 to give back to the community through financial donations. And those donations in the beginning were going to organizations like fire companies and churches. The mission of our foundation is to, in a nutshell, is to help people in need. So our foundation is all about people. Some foundations help support animals and youth, sporting groups and things like that. Ours, although we have a huge chunk of money that goes out to help youth education, the bulk of it is going to just help people in need, and that is all kinds of different things.
That's fantastic. And so I think it's important for our viewers to understand that, the company's profits don't necessarily go back into the owner's pockets. This is a family who's decided immediately to reinvest in the community that actually helped them to grow. Really quickly, Randy, how many employees does Clark have right now?
Clark has about 3,400 employees right now. Actually, it's interesting. Today is my 5th anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, and when I started in 2015, after I retired from the education, we only had 900 employees. So in those 5 years, we have grown from 900 employees to over 3,400 employees. And as you just mentioned, Scott, this company has been able to grow its giving with the foundation as the company has grown. So last year, 2019, we were able to distribute over $2.2 million in financial gifts and support to nonprofit organizations across the country.
Wow, that is outstanding. That's a staggering number, Randy. Thank you for sharing that. So, you came from education and now you're working for a charitable foundation. Tell our viewers what like a typical day for you looks like.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is no typical day, but it's always busy. And I do right now, because of I wear several different hats, as you shared in the intro. As far as the foundation goes, typically I get email from those in the company that want to help support organizations that are important to them, and we encourage our employees to guide us to those nonprofits that they are a part of so that we can help support them. But we also, just through our business dealings and people that become aware of our foundation, I will get applications in the mail or through email, and it's my job to go through those and process them. So I'll get an application. If it's an organization that is within driving distance, I will set up an appointment to go out and visit with that organization to see what they do, to meet their leadership, to gather as much information as I can about the organization. And then monthly, now this is what's different about our organization as opposed to some of the other foundations. We accept applications on a rolling basis. So every single day I could get a new application. There are no deadlines. It just is a rolling application process. And once I get them, I vet them all. I try to meet or contact the people that are providing that application to me, that grant application. And then on a monthly basis, I meet with our foundation leadership. So I'm the one that tries to gather the information and then very succinctly explain that and the need to our foundation leadership, and then they make the decision as to what we can support or not support. So my job is to kind of vet out if it's the golden retrievers, or the long-haired dachshunds. I have to apologize to them and say, you know what, I'm sorry. We love animals too, and we're actually a dog-friendly environment. We have dogs in our offices, but our foundation was designed to help people. If the grant meets our mission and all the guidelines for giving, then I can present that, and the leadership then makes a decision. And those grants can range from $500 to $200,000. It all depends on the need of the organization and how it meets our guidelines.
That's great. That's a very important distinction there, because you mentioned it earlier, but there are a lot of different foundations for a lot of different causes and things. So I think it's all about alignment and the fact that you vet all these things. I imagine you get a lot more requests than you obviously have resources for and things. So that's a difficult job to, try to weed down which ones are aligned with the mission of the Clark Associates and the Clark family. So that's a very important distinction. Let's shift gears a little bit. You also deal a lot with recruiting and your high school mentorship program and things like that. When we were preparing for this interview, you told me that you went in for your first interview and they said, yeah, you're not a good fit. We're not going to hire you. What happened and how did this whole thing come about? Talk about that story.
Okay. Well, when I was getting ready to retire from education, I realized that my best opportunity to try to figure out what I might do after retirement would be to gather some information for myself, trying to figure out. I wanted to transition, not that I didn't like education, but I had been in it for 35 years and I was looking for something different. And I thought, well, I need to find someone or people that can help guide me. So I had called up several people, just networking, and one of them was Fred Clark, who was CEO of Clark Associates. And he was very candid with me. And as you said, Scott, he shared with me that, no, Randy, you're not a good fit for this company. You are one of those, as he said, warm and fuzzy school people, and we are you're a business. And I think, he said to me, honestly, you are a better fit, I believe, for the nonprofit world, not the business world. I just think it's a better fit for you outside of the typical business that we're doing, negotiating, buying, selling, dealing with all the numbers. So months went by. I kept networking. Nobody was knocking down my door, offering me all kinds of jobs. So I went actually back on their website, and as I did with other companies, I applied for 3 entry-level positions. And about 2 days later, Fred's son, Gene, who, interestingly enough, was a 6th grade student in one of my schools many, many years ago, called me up and said, hey, Randy, I had no idea that you were getting ready to retire. I said something to my dad. He said, oh, yeah, we talked a while ago. And they called me in to talk to me, which ended up being that I wasn't I wasn't a good fit for the business, but they did think that I was a good fit for their foundation. And they were in transition with their foundation, looking for a new leader. And they talked to me about that. And one thing led to another, and they offered me a position.
The rest is history. That's excellent. So when you talk about fit, let's talk about that. For those viewers right now that really don't know who they are or where they may fit into the job market or their future. A lot of our viewers are struggling with that right now. I still struggle with it every once in a while. Are there specific tools that you use to identify, skills and strengths and things like that? How do you determine whether or not a person is a good fit with Clark Associates?
The company has strong feelings about understanding yourself and knowing what drives you. So they have actually adopted a personality assessment tool company-wide. So every employee, 3,400 employees, every employee takes the DISC personality assessment, which identifies in a very, very simplistic way what drives you, how you think, how you operate, for the purpose of not pigeonholing you and saying, oh, this is the kind of person you are, this kind of person you are, but rather for understanding how you operate so that you can better communicate with clients and with coworkers to be the most productive person that you can be and to have the most effective communications with one another. So I took the personality assessment as everyone else does, and Fred was spot on. I am according to DISC, I am an SC, which was a good fit for education. That means the C part is conscientious and kind of detailed person. The S part is the steadiness and wanting to get along with people. So I was tending to be a more people person. So it was a good fit, and he recognized that, and we use that now along with an assessment called SkillFinder or StrengthsFinders, excuse me. There's a book, StrengthsFinders, and in that book,
right,
actually, there's a tool that you can, online tool that you can take, which identifies areas of strength. Now, our company believes that it's better to focus on your areas of strength than to focus on what you're not strong at. So find a job that you're already suited for, that you can become better at, and then get better at it. So if you are not a detailed person, then you should not be looking at an accounting position in our business office. If your strengths are people, then you should be looking for something that is people-oriented. If you are detail-oriented, the accounting, and you can sit behind a computer all day long and crunch numbers, well, great, And so we use those two tools, to answer your question, Scott, to try to help the individuals that we're interviewing make those decisions. But for our hiring managers to know that and try to assess all of that in that interviewing process and that hiring process.
That's fantastic advice. So those two tools, we will show links and things like that after this video, but they are DISC and also StrengthsFinders.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So what advice would you give to someone who is exploring careers right now? Should they take this kind of test ahead of time and kind of learn what they're doing? And, you talked about not being pigeonholed. I don't think a tool like this will necessarily pigeonhole you, but it might at least get you a start. Would you recommend for these people that are still wondering who they are to take these tests ahead of time? And what other advice would you give them?
I would strongly suggest taking them. The thing is, we think as individuals, we think we know ourselves, and it's just all intuitive and it's a gut feeling, and this is the way I've always thought. But the reality is sometimes these assessment tools can kind of guide us a little bit, either reinforce what we already thought to be true, or they can open up an idea that is new that we may not have thought about, that is a reality for us that we may not have even realized. Also, going into an interview, if you can talk about things like this, it tells the person that you're interviewing with that you are very much aware of yourself, and you can be more confident about the fit between that job you're interviewing for and what it is that you're talking about. So I think you look more intelligent, you can be more confident. Yes, Scott, I would suggest trying to take a couple of these assessments, and there are free assessments online that you can take advantage of. Fantastic.
Well, Randy, I'll tell you what, this time has gone very, very quickly. This is absolutely fantastic advice for anyone. I don't care if you're a high school student or whether you're transitioning in careers and things. I think that was the spot on best advice that you ever could have given. Thanks so much for taking us on a little tour of Clark and your personal journey and how you can discover yourself and your strengths. I'm so very grateful that Clark Associates is also aligned with our foundation's mission to educate students, to make them better. Thank you so much for everything you do for us, and thanks for your time today, Randy.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was great talking with you.
All right, be well.
Thank you.